and welcome to 2020. I'm going to tell you about forecasting in business and why it is important. This is the beginning of the year, and this is the best time to begin to strategize for the year. This tool is going to help you to plan your first quarter accordingly. But before we go ahead, what exactly is forecasting? Forecasting, according to businessdictionary.com, is a planning tool that helps the management of a company to cope with the uncertainty of the future, relying on data from the past and then analyzing the trend in order to take informed decision. Please note that I said relying on data from the past. That has to do with your readily available data or your historical data. Now, how does this help your business? It helps you predict the future revenue and expenses and also helps you to plan accordingly. It allows you to commit your resources and create your quarterly or annual budgeting in anticipation of the revenue. It gives an insight into business performance and lets you know if your business is growing or not. And lastly, it helps you respond faster to risk and opportunities. So, how do you forecast in Excel? This function is already available in Excel software. All you need to do is to pull it out and begin to run the function. Here's the function. Remember to always pull out the equal sign before you pull out the function. And you need your data to be readily available in Excel before you can use the formula. Now, let's dive into the practical. Now, we're going to run the forecast for 2020. This number you're seeing right in front of me are your sales numbers from January 2018 to December 2019. These are your real sales, your actual sales. And we want to see how 2020 is going to look like from January all the way to December. And we're going to use your historical data. We're going to use your sales trend, all your actual numbers from the past. And that's what we're going to use to run this forecast for your business. We want to forecast January 2020. Remember, this year is just starting and we just want to see how it's going to look like based on what we have been doing. The first thing you're going to do is to pull out the equal sign right here. So we want to see what sales in January is going to look like. And we pull out the forecast function, which is already in Excel. So remember to pick the right one. So I'm going to pick forecast.linear. Our X is going to be January 2020. Put a comma and then we pick the Y's. The Y's is going to be the quantity we have sold in the past from C3 all the way to C26. So you put a comma and then you pick your X's, which are the dates from January 2018 all the way down to December 2019, and then close the parentheses, and then you hit the enter key. So based on the historical data that we have, this is going to be our sales for January. And I'm going to tell you about seasonality. From what we can see, we see that the sales in November 2019, December 2019 was pretty high. I mean, very high. If we compare to sales in November 2018, it's kind of close. But maybe there's something going on at that time. We're going to see that in future. I'm going to show you how to run the forecast using seasonality. So we've seen what January is going to look like. Are we going to run the, function all over again? I don't think so. We can actually go to the edge and drag all the way down. Drag it all the way down. And then we have our forecast. So you can see your numbers. And this is going to show you what is, based on what you've done. It's now left to you to do your marketing, to promote the business, come up with different things that can increase the numbers, if they are not what you're projecting. But this is actually what it is based on the fact. So if we want to see, I talked about seasonality. So this number right here, we're going to look at sales from January to December based on seasonality right here. But if you want to do this, it's always good to look at trend from maybe like 4-5 years in the past. This is going to give you an accurate number if you use, longer time span, maybe like 4 or 5 years. So, but we're going to see from January 2015 all the way down to December 2019. And we have some periods, we have some seasonalities in these numbers. And I'm going to point that out to you. If you look at December 2015 right here, let me just highlight that. We're going to see that the number is quite high. And if we go all the way down to November, December 2016, we see that the number is also very high. And that's the seasonality I'm talking about. If we go to December 2017, we see the number is also high, maybe not as high as November 16, but it's also higher than what, the company has been doing from January all the way to October. So if we go to December 2018, we see the number is also very high at that time. And if we go to December 2019, it is also very high. This shows that, in this data right here, we have like some seasonality here. So we're going to use this to check what January to December is going to look like based on the seasonality in this data. So remember to pull out the equal sign, pick the right function, which is forecast.ets right here. And then this is the X. Pick the X, and then you pick the Y's, which are the numbers that we had in the past. Put your comma, and then you pick your X's, which are the dates from January 2015 to December 2019. And then you close the parentheses, hit the enter key. So right now we have the sales for January, as we can see. And then if you drag it all the way down, you can see that, you can see the numbers. And if you go to December, you see that there's a similar trend, in November and December. And this gives you an idea of what your sales is going to look like. This is just what I want to show you, to plan your 2020 and come up with your strategy. And this is the first thing you need to do. Understand what it's going to look like based on fact, based on numbers. And then you can begin to, manipulate. You can begin to do all sort of things to change the number. And maybe you don't know if anything changes from these numbers, it affects everything. Let's say I change this number. I'm going to bring it back. Let's say I change this 3,400 to something different. Maybe I change it to 4,500. It changed all the numbers. So if anything changes, it's going to change all the numbers because we already put a formula to it. So I take that back to 3, 4, and then that's the end of this video.